Okay, we're rolling. All right. So now that we've done the mini Bob Ross and learned a lot of lessons in that, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit bigger painting. And whereas I wanted you to follow this one pretty much exactly what I did, because it's a tutorial, this next one, I really want you to do your own thing. And so I have done this. I've made not one, not two, but three different examples. And they all have the same thing in common, right? They've all got a sky, they've all got water that reflects, they've all got puffy clouds, and they've all got mountains. They've all got some distant scenery, and they've all got happy little trees and some foreground. And so it's just a matter of how you arrange them. They can all be so very, very different. For example, here, once again, we've just got a sky with a blend, some clouds, reflective water, and a mountain, background, and foreground. A few happy little trees. All the same elements, just arranged differently. Okay, so to complete this project, we're just going to use same old bristle brush that we have been using, maybe a smaller brush or two. The palettes are going to be a little bit different because instead of using these round palettes like we have been, I'm going to give you a new palette system that allows you to do a little bit more mixing. And I'm going to even introduce you to a couple of new tools, like these two different sorts of palette knives here. Other than that, everything is pretty much the same. Canvas is a little bit bigger, but you'll still tape it down to your board just the same. So let's get started. It's time to make your own version of a Bob Ross. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch from using these round palettes to a different system. And this different system is going to give you more of a palette area to play with. All it is basically an old cookie sheet and some sandwich wraps. The sandwich wraps are really good because they are somewhat resistant to the moisture in the paint. Okay. And the only thing that you got to watch out for is that they are really, really tissue thin. So try to grab only one if you can. All right. So they fit into the trays really nice, as you can see. And we'll just take some tape. And just put it into the corners. About the only thing I can say about that is, you want to have it nice and flat, just so that it's really easy to work with. So let's begin with the first example with just a basic blue sky. Now, if you get a canvas like this, that's not perfect. Now you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's a little bit of a line on here, and there's some little bits of whatever, left over from when the canvas was first being made. It's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect, right? You can just brush that off, and that'll be just fine because the white's going to cover up everything on the canvas anyway. So if yours is not perfect, it's okay. Okay, so for the first one, here's my basic palette. I've got this white, I've got darker blue, and I've got the black. All right, and that's all because you don't need to put out any more paints on your palette than what you're going to use because, since we're in the classroom situation, you just might not get to doing any more than this at one time. All right, cool. So, since this canvas is a little bit bigger, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take and dip my brush into a little bit of water and then start by watering down the canvas a little bit. Now, the canvas does not absorb the water out of the paints in the same way that the paper does, but since it is larger, we do want to go ahead and wet it down a little bit this first time, just so it makes the painting of the white a little bit easier. Just makes it spread a little bit better. Okay, so not too much, a little bit here and there, not too much at all. And so then we can go ahead and just dip into our white like we've done so many times before. And by having that little bit of water on the canvas, that should make this spread a lot easier and go a lot further. That's probably the last time that we're going to be using water like that because we want these paints to be thick. I've noticed sometimes when the kids are working with these, they're still using water to thin them down. And that's good in a way because I'm glad that they learned lessons from when we were using these in a more transparent manner. But now we're using them opaque. And these paints are kind of barely opaque as it is. So we want to use them full strength, not any water. So you can see the way that not only did I go all around everywhere, but how I've gone methodically, horizontally, and now vertically, just to make sure that I had a nice even coat on there. You know, it's not super thick. Get rid of that little bit of a hair right there as well. Anyways, it's not super thick. It'll be just fine. Okay, so now with this basic blue sky, we'll do it just like when doing the mini Bob Ross. I didn't even wash my brush or anything, but I've got that blue, a little bit of that darker blue, and a little bit of the black. Not much. Not much at all, right? Just a little bit. It grays it out a little bit and makes the color a little bit less fakey, right? Because otherwise, if you use colors just right out of the tube, they tend to look, well, a little bit fake. Okay, so there we go. We've got a nice bunch of that blue right there. It's all over my brush, well covered. And I'll just begin at the top and work my way down. Okay, little X strokes. X, 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 X. See, like that. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Okay, and if I need a little bit more paint, I'll just grab a little bit more paint and just continue to work my way down, 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 and it will get lighter as it mixes into the white. And you see it's covering up all the little bits of schmutz or whatever that was on there. Okay. Cool. And then I can just blend that nice and soft. Very gentle touch. You know, especially because, you know, it did have that little bit of moisture. So, ooh, gentle, gentle. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just really not putting any weight. You see, there's just very little tension between my hand and that paintbrush. Basically, the only weight that's going on this canvas is the weight of the brush itself. And even that, maybe I'm modifying to take a little bit of that off. Very soft, very soft. Old Bob would say 2 hairs and some air, but actually we're using the whole thing. But just whisper soft. Okay, so now we need a little bit of this same color down here. Oh, let's see here. We got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so this time, I'm going to do sort of a special technique to make this water. What I'll do is I'll start here, and I'll work my way in. And here, the other side of the brush, work my way in. And we can work up. I'm going to need a little bit more blue than that. Alrighty. Just the same old colors. Anyways, so I'm going to work my way towards middle, then up and up, letting it once again lighter, getting lighter as it's going up. And if I need to get more paint, I'll probably start near the bottom and then work my way up again because I want it to get lighter. Notice I'm leaving this area in the middle. I'm leaving that blank for right now. And all the way up to the sky. Water's going to reach the sky. Okay, so then I'm just going to blend across this way. Just blend, 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 just like so. Right. And it's leaving me this little bit of streakiness right here. Now I've got this area here, I'm going to need a little bit more. And so I'm just going to grab a little bit more white. So I've got a little bit of white on my brush there. And I can just get that center part, blend that out, out, out from that center, just like so. And what that does is it gives me sort of a mirror of the sky right here, but it's a little bit different. The brush strokes are just a little different this way. And it gives me this nice little bit of light in the center there. Okay, perfect. See, water, it's so easy, right? Okay, so now the next thing that we want to do while our paint is still wet is we want to do maybe just some happy little clouds up there. So I'm going to wash off my brush and then I'm going to go for it. And okay, so when I was cleaning my brush, I got all the way up and went over to the sink and washed it out really nice. And then when I was at the sink, I was able to also shake the water out of the brush like that. So now I've got a pretty nicely clean, dry brush, right? And I can dry it off a little bit with the paper towel, whatever, right? I just don't want a whole lot of water in there. Okay, and so now I'm just going to take a little bit of the white paint and just like when I was doing that mini Bob Ross there, just going to take and put it right into the bristles of the paint, just like so. And get my little motor going here. And oh, where's a cloud going to live? Maybe, ooh, right there. There's a little cloud. And going puff, 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 up, up, up into the air. And I can wipe it off in between times if I want to keep that nice and white. And some more white. And ooh, just puff, 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 little cloud. And more. Just layer upon layer of little puffy, puffy clouds. And maybe another one right over here. Oof. And I like to make sound effects because, you know, I want to be a cloud. I'll just be a puffy little cloud. There it is. All right, and once I've got my puffy little clouds in there, maybe, you know, then what I'm going to do, I'll just take, with this, I could probably just take the paper towel, wipe it off a little bit, right? And I'm going to fluff it up. So I'm just going to take and just, ooh, not much pressure at all. Just fluff that little cloud up. You know, I joke about the sound effects, but I notice a lot of artists do that because it really focuses you. And you know, it's an art class. Nobody's going to laugh if you do that. Okay, so here we go. Okay, that's probably good there. And finally, okay. And, ooh, so gentle, barely touching it. And you know, if I lose all my brightness in these clouds, that's okay. I can come back. I can come back later when this is dry and I can add to it. And maybe I don't have to blend everywhere. Maybe some places, you know, I won't touch it all. You know, don't do things robotically. Just because you're learning a technique doesn't mean you have to do it slavishly. No, no, no. You still have to use your intelligence, right? Use your discernment and your judgment. And maybe even just a little tap, tap, tap in some places. That might be what does it to blend this a little bit. Oof, oof, just to break up those brush strokes in some areas. See, I can see it, sometimes I can see it glinting from the lights, the reflections of the brush strokes. So when I see them, maybe if I want to break them up a little bit, if I don't want those brush strokes showing real heavy, then I'll get in there, just give a little tap, 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 tap. Okay, ooh, nice puffy little clouds. There we go. And that's enough for this one for now. And if you got that done in one class period, great. Then move on, do some more. Okay, let's show you another example. All right.